guys.
Hey all.
I almost said good morning.
Morning. Good evening, Sammy.
It is morning for you. And all our friends over in Jolly, England, it is like, what, 1 a.m. there?
Uh-huh.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Oh, shit.
Like,
Well, then I wouldn't have been off the mark. I know. I'm up. That was scary enough, wasn't it, guys? Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us on one of our rare evening streams. I mean, I thought it would be fun. We actually thought it would be fun. It was actually Purple's idea to do a scary story night. I think via Starry Eyed Girl too. It was one of her ideas that she gave to us. So I was like, okay. I mean, I don't know any scary. No, I don't know any scary stories per se, but I have scary experiences. And
also
Generalissimo Jefe and I were talking about that before the stream started. I'm like, hey, if you want to jump in and tell one of those weird college stories, because where he went to college was like super haunted.
Cool.
He could come in and share that story if he wanted to. But I guess we should say good evening to those folks who did join us.
Yep. And you were about to have a astronaut go flying. Hi, Lucy.
Say, has he been? Oh, he's been booted.
Oh.
Our little astronaut has already gone flyabout. He's on the floor.
Oh dear.
It's all right. So who's all hanging out with us tonight, hon?
We have got Colin P, one of our wonderful wrenches. We have got the gorgeous Gun Bunny. Hello, sweetheart. Let me scroll down. Louise, hello, my love.
Hello,
Nicole,
Louise.
the blind mage. She was such a good guest the other day. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, gorgeous. Yeah, it was wonderful to have her on. We got to have her on again.
We do.
And then join her show one of these Saturdays.
Oh, yes. That would be cool.
Yeah.
We've got the Jester of Sin. Hello, darling. Who else have we got, my love? Scrolling down. Huh? Oh, Purple Valkyrie's here. Who knew? Hey.
Mr. Hyde is here. He's hanging out with us tonight. I'm so glad. He's a Canadian, eh? I know I saw Generalissimo Jefe in there. Yep, there he is. Mark the Infinitely Tired is hanging out.
Hello, Mark.
Who else did I see? Oh, Divided by Sight is here.
Hello, sweetheart.
Nicole's sister. So, hello, sweetheart. Great to have you in our chat. Generalissimo Jefe again. Those boys are going to start yapping at any second. And I know earlier I saw Psychodwarf 9.
Yep, Psychodwarf Sin.
And I saw Dave Bob. He's going to be lurking. Actually, he won't be working. He's retired. Project Storytime is hanging out with us.
Hello.
I saw
Crimson Mist. Hello, sweetheart.
Crimson Mist, yeah. And I saw Chris blow by just a second ago. All of a sudden, everything just went.
And Pod Racing Palpatine. Hello, my love.
Hello, Pod Racing Palpatine, Pop Culture Avenger. We got a lot of folks hanging out with us tonight.
We really do. Yeah.
Chris came for the snorts. So
you're in the right place, Chris.
Yep, I think you're hanging. There's already been one, so you guys are good. I just saw, and I've got to pull it up.
We're on 2.
Oh, we're on 2? I wasn't sure. I just saw something go by.
Posh ghost stories, indeed, Mark.
Sorry.
Hey, number 3.
4. I think it's because my sinuses are bugging me.
Give the people what they want, Sammy.
I know. But I saw that somebody is a big spender.
Oh.
I saw it roll past Dream Elements. CK tipped us $10.
You are correct. CK, thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you, CK. Hit it, babe.
Damn chat jumped on me. There we go.
Hey, big spender, spend a little time with me.
Thank
And I'm
you,
getting it to
CK.
come up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Well-oiled machine.
that one blew past us. Sorry, CK. Thank you, sweetheart.
I
Thank
just
you.
happened to see it when this chat jumped, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, Zoom. For the pillow fight fun and for Generalissimo Hefe, please.
Funny you should mention that. We did actually bring pillows today. There's mine.
Yeah. I
It's
got
a
my
little
boring
bat.
pillow. He's got a bat. That's way cuter than mine. I just got a froofy little pillow. I'm like Marty from Greece. Everything is floofy.
I've got a pumpkin as well over there.
Should have got my pumpkin out. But did I? No. Of course not. Nicole the Blind Mage, yes.
Shots.
Shots. You guys would be 4 in already.
Skull.
Skull. Ta-da.
Oh my god. And Colin says that's a bat. It is a bat. It's got a purple tummy. It's cute.
Yeah. Mark's blood pressure just spiked.
Oh god. Sorry, Mark.
Hey, Dee Dee. Hey, Lady Mist. Good to see you guys.
But we did as promised. It is indeed pajama party.
Pajama party. Got on my jammies. I even got, hold on, fluffy slippers. Because it's cold in here.
Yes. So should we let people know what we were thinking of doing?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So what we thought we were going to do is Sammy and I will each tell a story, and then what I will do is I will drop the link into the chat, and whoever wants to come up, and we will have you one at a time. And the floor is all yours if you would like to tell us the story or share a spooky encounter.
Yeah. We'd love to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
A gun bunny has teddy bear slippers. That's adorable.
Oh, that's so cute. And Crimson Mist, you
I
need
need
some
Sherpa socks.
warm.
Oh, they are so warm. But see, this is Texas. I'd only be able to wear them for like 2 weeks. Maybe that's a good thing.
Oh my gosh. All right. Sammy, who would like to go first? You or me?
Go ahead.
No? All right then, cool.
Sure. Go nuts.
Sweet. All right. I will just drop Sammy out for a moment because I think that's the way we're going to do it. We're just going to have one person up at a time. See you in a second, my love. Hey! I'm going to stop the camera because it's going to be spookier that way. And there I go. All right, guys. So for tonight, I have decided to tell you guys the story of the Vampire of Crogling Grange. Now, this story it's been written about a few times. It's believed the first time it was actually put to paper was in about the 1890s by a guy named Augustus Hare. But even he said that the story is probably about 200 years older when he first heard it. So I will tell you all the story and let you decide for yourselves whether it's just an urban legend or if there's any truth to it. Okay, so the Vampire of Crogling Grange. This takes place probably, as I say, some 200-300 years ago in England, and it's Cumberland where it was set. So the setting, it's kind of hard to explain because it's changed over the years, but in the story it is a farmhouse that was owned by a family, so 2 brothers and their younger sister, Amelia. They'd been in the house probably a couple of years. Nothing good really happened. They were popular in the village until one very strange summer evening. It was very, very hot, very, very muggy, The family had retired to bed, but although the windows were closed, the shutters were not drawn. Amelia was lying on her bed, trying to get to sleep, when she looks out the window, and across in the dusk, she sees 2 points of light coming towards her. Amelia can't quite figure out what it is she's looking at, so she kind of gets up, moves closer to the window. She thinks maybe it's a cat, maybe some sort of animal. But as these 2 pinpoints of light come closer, she realizes it's a pair of eyes. And these eyes are in what she describes as being a scarecrow-like creature, very tall, very thin, moving in a very odd, jerky manner. Now, she's kind of horrified by what she's seeing, so she backs up, but is still transfixed upon this creature. This creature moves quickly, and the next thing she knows, it's at the window. And still, she's staring at this thing. She sees a gaunt white face and these 2 burning sunken eyes looking at her. And the next thing she realizes is this thing is picking away the lead around the window. It moves quickly, it picks away the lead, it removes a pane of glass, it reaches inside and unlatches the window. Now at this point, Amelia comes to her senses and starts to scream. But, unfortunately for her, she's too late. The thing is across the room, and it has its teeth in her throat. Her brothers hear her, obviously. They burst into the room. The thing runs back out across the grass and towards the churchyard. Now, Amelia doesn't die, but she has lost some blood, and she needs time to recuperate. The family take her to Switzerland, where she makes a full recovery, and eventually they do return to Croglin Grange because they love the house. You know, they're popular in the village, and Amelia, she wants to kind of get back to her old life. She puts it behind her. She thinks, okay, perhaps it was some lunatic escaped. And they all but forget about this creature until it happens again. This time, however, they're prepared for it. The brothers lay in ambush. So when the creature tries to attack her again, it's shot in the leg. The brothers give chase and they track it back to a crypt in the nearby graveyard. Now, they actually do the sensible thing and don't burst into the crypt right there and then. They gather a posse, they come back, they open the crypt, and they look inside to find what they really, really hoped they wouldn't find. One of the coffins is loose, the lid, and inside is a corpse with blood smeared across its face. They remove the body and burn it, and that is the last of the vampire of Croglin Grange, or so they hoped. Now, people aren't entirely sure whether this is, as I say, just an urban legend, or whether there is some basis of truth. There is indeed a Croglin Grange, which does indeed back onto a graveyard. And so I would leave it up to you to decide, did Amelia in fact get attacked by a vampire, or did she just get attacked by some deranged lunatic? The story has been told a few times, and it was even told in, if you guys remember Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, if you ever read those books as kids, it was retold as The Window. Little bit changed, but this was the origin of that particular story. And that is my spooky story.
Oh, why is everything so creepy in English? I mean, I don't have anything that good. Jeez, I just have ghost encounters and creepy shit I watch on stuff that's haunted in England. Well, thanks to Colin P. Smith, he got this got Jeff interested in this series on the Tower of London. And we all know that's haunted as hell. So, that's for that. Generalissimo Hefe has told me some stories about some hauntings. There's one here in Dallas at the original Snuffers downtown. That bar is supposed to be haunted. In fact, ghost hunters came here and investigated it. I think it was Ghost Hunters. It was one of the shows we used to watch on, like Sci-Fi before it was sci-fi. There's that. And I lived in a couple of haunted places. And he went to a haunted college. And so does 20-something tech support. Her want that she stayed in her freshman year is haunted. Because it was built, oh gosh, I want to say it was built in the 1920s. And I'm not sure this. I don't remember the story about the haunting, which is really shitty because I spent the whole day looking for the stupid picture and to show you guys, and I couldn't freaking find it. So I apologize for that, guys. But I've had spooky experiences of my own where I think I told you guys once before. I lived in an apartment that used to be a rectory for the Catholic Church that was right next door to my apartment. And one of the priests there hung himself one night. This was back, I want to say it was in the 1930s. Yeah, that's how old this building was. And I was sitting there one night. I was watching, oddly enough, I think I was watching something political because I remember it being around this time of year. And we were going into, I think, the first of the Clinton era elections. And Fleetwood Mac was performing, believe it or not, and they were performing Don't Stop. So I was like, Fleetwood Mac, I got to be into this. So I'm sitting there watching it. And I see something move out of the corner of my eye. Okay, well, I owned a cat. I figure it was the cat. Nope, the cat was on the other side of the room. Okay, Sammy, you're seeing things. You're tired, whatever. You're alone in this house and things are going to be creepy because you're by yourself. Okay, I'm still sitting there eating my popcorn, watching Fleetwood Mac, watching this whole thing go down. Okay, I think it was the inauguration. Anyway, I'm sitting there and the show is winding down and I see something move again out of the corner of my eye. And I thought, okay, it's not the cat. She's over here. She's not acting weird. What the hell is going on? I turn off the TV. I'm getting ready to go to bed. And I turn and I look towards the doorway where I'm seeing this. Now I'm sitting in the living room. My kitchen is the next room. And then my bedroom is beyond that. And between the kitchen and the living area, big doorway. And there's a gentleman standing there in a priest's outfit, collar, whole 9 yards, just standing there, staring at me. And his head is just slightly cocked. And you can see a ring around his neck of where he hung himself. And that was the first time I saw him. I saw him 5 more times after that. I think I turned whiter than I actually am. Like I said, I was home by myself. I froze. I grabbed my keys. I do remember doing that. I remember grabbing my keys and going out the front door and waiting until my boyfriend got home. I sat there out on the sidewalk until he got home. And that was about 45 minutes to an hour later. I was just sitting there freezing on my front stoop, just like, oh my God, just come home because I am not going back in that apartment until you do. Well, I told this story to the gentleman who was my landlord. And he said, oh, yeah, you saw the priest. Told me the story of the priest. And I was like, oh, thank God he's not a spirit. Okay, great. Well, occasionally he would knock things off my kitchen counter. He would just stand there in the doorway and try to freak me out until one time I had finally had enough. It was freaking me out too much. I was just like, I know that you're troubled. Go ahead and cross over. It's fine. You're not freaking me out anymore. And I never did see him again after that. The next place I lived in was built around the end of the Civil War. And the most you got was a lot of banging. People coming up and down the steps when there were no people there. I never saw spirits, but my cats would freak out. There would be cold spots where there shouldn't have been a cold spot. It was just weird. Those were my weird encounters. And I know, let's see. Dave Bob says, I stayed in the Hotel Montalone. Is that how you say it, honey? In New Orleans. Everything in New Orleans is haunted. My God. I went into a old restaurant that was haunted. I couldn't sit there. I asked Generalissimo Jefe. We had to leave because I couldn't be there. It was freaking, the place was freaking me out. Just too much. Madame Lalaurie house. I also can't be in front of that house. It freaks me out. It turns out, thanks to Mr. Hyde, I now know that I'm sensitive to these things. So good to know. Don't take me anywhere haunted. But mine have just been experiences with the dead. I've seen my grandmother. I've seen my grandfather. I've seen my dad. These are all my spirit guides and people wanting to reach out to me and say hello. My best friend, Peggy, who I lost a couple years ago, has come to see me a couple of times and yell at me. She's from Chicago, so that's really all she does is yell. But that's about it. That's all for me. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, that is cool. I think I would have freaked out having seen that priest.
You guys see how white I already am? I can't imagine me getting much whiter than this. But I think I did. I felt color drain from my face. I was just like, Keys, God. I'm going to sit outside and chain smoke because, oh my God. I was completely freaking out. Oh, Lauren just tipped $2. Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you, Lauren. Let me hit it.
Hey, big spender, spend a little time with me.
Thank you, Lauren. She didn't say anything, but she just dropped $2 in her till. So thank you very much, sweetheart.
Thank you, Lauren.
Big spender.
Awesome. Thank you, Sammy. Yeah, I think, I would have been out the door. Just, no.
Yeah, it was a lot. Well,
Awesome.
being in that part of the world, it's like being, like everything in England is haunted. We already know this because your country is thousands of years old. Mine, not so much. At least, the most history I ever had was that of, the Native Americans, of course. And, the early colonization of America. The oldest home I lived in was the one I lived in that was built around the time of the end of the Civil War. So, but you had houses, up in Massachusetts, especially Salem. Salem is haunted as hell. But yeah, it took me even an hour after my boyfriend got home to convince him that the place was haunted. He never had an experience. I was the only one who ever had an experience with this thing. So it was like,
I think it's kind of funny how the landlord just neglected to mention it until it happened.
I know, right? I think he just wanted to rent the place out.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Could have put that on the lease. Yeah.
Oh, divided by sight, Lauren says, I didn't see the comment, #blind problems. Oh, well.
Oh, that's okay.
Honey, that's
Thank you,
fine.
sweetheart. If you want to put a comment in the chat, I'll read it out for you. Thank you, sweetheart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of chats, I'm going to put
what's the chat got going on?
I'm going to put the link in chat now, if it'll let me.
Yeah, I saw
There we go.
that. There it goes.
Delayed reaction. Thank you, guys.
I think Josh had a story from around Pittsburgh.
Awesome.
And I think Nicole the Blind Mage also had a spooky poem, I think.
Oh, love poems. Yes, absolutely, guys. So link is now in the chat. So if anyone wants to come up, what we will do is we will get you up one at a time and the floor is all yours.
Yeah, we'll let you talk for a couple, 2 or 3 minutes. And Psychodwarf 9 says his grandfather kept dropping by until 2000.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if you've ever had an experience. Mark. Mark's being weird.
Oh God. What are you doing, Mark?
He's just Sanjo. Who's the old lady walking behind you? It's probably just my grandmother. Ignore her. She'll go away. She'll fill the room with cigarette smoke.
Yeah, I haven't had any ghost encounters, but I have had a run-in with the Mackenzie poltergeist. So if we don't get time to tell that tonight, I might tell that tomorrow.
Okay.
And just before we bring on one of our guests...
Okay, Jeff is being weird.
I heard that.
You need to not do that. Like, ever.
Appreciate it, Jeff.
Nailed it. He freaked me out. Jester of Sin just tipped $5. Thank you, sweetheart.
Hey, big spender, spend a little time with me.
Jester of Sin says, I hope you ladies know you were included in that message I left for Loki. Just couldn't donate until now. Don't go anywhere. Okay, sweetheart. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart.
That's so sweet. Oh my God.
I'm going to bring on Colin first, and then I'm going to
Okay.
pull us out. Hello, Colin.
Hi, Colin.
Hi, ladies. Evening, ladies.
Hello, my love. The floor is all yours, my love.
Well, I've got two possibilities, but I'll go with the personal one first. Need to do a little bit of hold on a second, that's better. Scene setting first of all. Chichester is a very old city in southeast England. It's also the home of the military police, the British Army's police force. It's where they recruit, it's where their training depots, all the rest of it. They have obviously connections with police forces and military all around the world. They do, at least back in the days when I was in the Territorial Army, for our American friends, the nearest equivalent would be the National Guard. They did a 25-mile, 40-kilometre march every year in summer, if I remember right, around a particular course around the city. And it was open to, you had military there, you had police there, you had organisations like Scouts, Guides, all sorts of organisations there. The reason I emphasise his background is that the sort of people he had there, mainly military police, not easily, not people famous for being particularly easily scared. I honestly can't remember if it was a Saturday or Sunday, so this would have been a Friday evening or a Saturday evening. But this was what, 40 odd years ago, maybe. But we were down there doing I was there with my troop. We were doing it, and we were in a pub. So if you can imagine, this is early evening, 7, maybe 8, I'm not sure, on a Friday or a Saturday in a pub, a crowded pub in a military town, which is full of military, police, and similar. And we're just sitting there around the table chatting. There's a few of us, and I was quite into my belief system, if you like, was quite influenced by Dennis Wheatley's novels at the time. We're just talking, and we were just chatting about various things in different. And there were a couple of guys there, one of whom was an ex-regular signaller, regular soldier, and the other guy was a TA guy. We're sitting there, and they were both also, I suppose, pagan, spiritualist believers. I can't remember what we were talking about. We were talking about things, and we're just talking, sitting around this table talking, and they're talking, and we're talking something about, there's definitely something spiritualistic and reincarnationist and things like this. I think we're talking about various ideas about what reincarnation is and what happens and everything. And it gradually gets quite, and suddenly realise that it's very quiet. And the only time in my life I've ever actually understood the phrase "cut the atmosphere like a knife." And all you've got is, let's call them Pete and John, sitting at either end of this table, you know, sort of normal size for sort of table, 6-7 feet long, 3-4 feet long, and they're just staring at each other. And we've gone quiet, and I look up, and the weird thing is, like I said, this is a military town, full of police, military, Friday evening in a pub, and apart from us, there's about half a dozen people left in this pub. They've managed to clear the pub just by talking. Something had brought the atmosphere in there, and eventually someone said something, and it snapped them out of it, and they came out of it. But we actually, well, do you know what? I was about to say that's the first time I've told that story in a very long time that I haven't had a shiver down my spine. But there was only very little one this time. I must be almost getting over it. But pub full of military police and military town full of military police and others. Friday night, Saturday night, we managed to clear it just by talking. That's the power of something for you. I'm just not sure what.
Wow. You must have taken that room super dark.
It was. We're talking about these things, and I think we ended up. We thought that maybe the two chaps had some sort of past history in previous incarnations, perhaps, or something. I'd say it was somewhere around 40 years ago, so my memory is not very detailed. But I've got another nice little story that's I can't remember where it came from, but I don't know but I'll leave that in case we've got other people wanting to come in the chat, because I don't want to hold the whole chat.
Yeah, if that's all right, what we'll do is we'll rotate through everyone who we have, and then we can bring you back on if you don't mind sitting in the back for a little bit, Colin.
No, of course not.
Awesome.
Absolutely not.
That was a good story. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And
you guys, I was there. I'm sitting here counting. I'm not wearing my jammies, but I'm doing my vampire impression because I'm actually wearing my medieval cloak, completely maroon coloured lining, simply because it is really quite warm. So I'm doing my vampire impression here. Yeah, it's not keeping my shoulders particularly warm at the moment.
As long as it keeps you warm, I mean, golly. Wear it with pride. Goddamn.
Oh yes,
that was excellent. Thank you, Colin.
Thank you.
I will take you back out, and I'm going to bring Nicole on. Thank you, sweetheart. Hello, darling. Right.
Can she hear us?
Oh, I can hear you just fine.
You hear you?
Hear me?
All right,
Okay,
sweetheart.
good.
The floor is all yours.
The floor is yours, babe.
So, I'm gonna pull it up. So, I had a couple stories, but I thought it'd be more fun to share a poem that I wrote, because it usually has a fun reaction to the listeners.
Scaring the crap out of them.
So, the poem's called Monstrous Feast. The storied glass lies shattered along the mausoleum floor, playing hide and seek with creatures that come forth from the Shadowland, allowing the splintered glass to show pieces of rotted flesh and portraying yellow eyes. The water held at bay by their crystal imprisonment. Their laughter swirls around their savior, their defenses becoming their key in escaping into the mental place. There were times when a taste of freedom elude their town grass, but the pills only sharpen their forms. Drugs gave birth to siblings of the original demons, and the banshee wails help drown out rebellious growls, trying to thwart their plans to escape. The mortals try to defend themselves, building forts and entrapments, proved by government fundings, paid by government fundings, trapping their meals in padded cages. The prey were mocked by mortals, claiming that such horrors are illusionary. Monsters only exist in the fantasies of their minds.
Ugh. That would be so creepy. Oh, yeah.
That's the end.
Bravo!
Bravo, sweetheart. Well done.
Woo!
I think I got mixed up.
Get my pillow back.
No, that's dark now.
You sure?
That was brilliant. Well done. I'm terrible
Bravo.
at reciting poetry.
Oh, I'm horrible at poetry. Don't even get me started.
I just can't get the flow right. Brilliant. Well done. Thank you, Nicole.
Well done, indeed. Great job, kiddo. Awesome. Thank you for jumping on, babe.
Yeah, thank you for jumping on. I'm going to drop you in the back and I'm going to bring out Project Story Time. Thank you, sweetheart.
See you later.
See ya.
Oh, Josh is coming on? Awesome.
Yes, he is.
Hey, Josh.
Hello.
Hello, darling.
How are you, ladies?
Good, how are
Doing
you?
well. Doing well, thank you. What have you got for us tonight?
I have the story of Michael Rosenblum, who is this is a real story. This happened.
Awesome. I will give you the floor then, my love.
Oh man, pressure. Okay. So back in 1980, a man by the name of Michael Rosenblum was he was having drug issues, and his parents eventually decided to show him some tough love, and they kicked him out. So he and his girlfriend went and stayed at a motel, and then he started having severe withdrawal issues. Then he refused any and all treatment. So he proceeded to request that he asked his girlfriend to give him the keys to his car because he had something he had to do. And he told her to get a taxi and go wait for him at his parents' house, which she did. And he took off with her car. That's the last time he was ever seen. The next morning, after not showing up, his parents filed a missing persons report, and the police started the search process. They got the information of the missing car, and then nothing, absolutely nothing. A month after he disappeared, the father, getting upset at the lack of progress for anything, hired a private investigator. 2 months after he disappeared, for 2 weeks, the family started getting mysterious phone calls saying, "Hey, your son's alive. Don't worry. Hey, don't worry. Your son's still alive." That went on for 2 weeks, and then the phone calls disappeared. No one ever, the caller never identified themselves or anything like that. 3 months after he'd vanished, the car was finally found in a police impound lot in a small suburb of Pittsburgh called Baldwin. The Pittsburgh police was talking to the Baldwin police. Damn it, I missed one little detail. Hold on, back up. The same time those phone calls started happening, the Baldwin Police Department issued an arrest warrant for Michael. And this is the missing person, so the Pittsburgh Police Department contacted the Baldwin Police Department, like, hey, this is a missing person. What information do you have? And then without a single notification, no word at all, they rescinded the arrest warrant. No explanation ever given. Now, 3 months later, the car's finally found in a Baldwin police lot. The private investigator that the father had hired went to the Baldwin Police Department and started asking questions of the file clerks. Keep in mind, this was not his car, it was the girlfriend's. She was never notified that her car was found. So when they went and looked at the records, the car had been there since the day Michael disappeared. It was found only 2 hours after he left his girlfriend. The keys were in the ignition, the doors were unlocked, and both driver's side tires were flat. When the car got towed, put in this impound lot, and then the following day is when the father, filed a missing persons report. So when the private investigators started asking questions like, why wasn't, at the very least, the girlfriend notified, hey, we found your car? The police chief of Baldwin told the file clerks to falsify their records, saying they did send out a lot. They did send out that information to her and put it in their records. The officer who found the car, the police chief asked him to file his report now and backdate it, which he refused to do. The police chief then told the file clerk, fill out this report and forge that officer's signature, which he did, since, hey, paycheck's a paycheck. With these findings, the father decided this police chief is not suitable for service anymore. So he filed a complaint with the ethics department. The ethics department found, yeah, this guy's at best incompetent and at worst corrupt. So they removed him from service. The police chief filed an appeal, which the appeal board, the Pennsylvania appeal board, whatever it was, this police chief was known to have not one, not two, but 3 personal friends serving on it. They reinstated him as police chief of Baldwin. When when the hearing happened, it was a matter of public concern. With a public official, this hearing was open to the public. The records were sealed. That is illegal. You're not allowed to do that. You can't seal records from a public hearing. Also, they cited that the ethics committee did not provide sufficient evidence, despite the fact that the appeal committee did not ever allow them to file their findings. All because of this one police chief who seemed to have it out for Michael for some reason. finally, after several years of nothing, the father of Michael contacted a local psychic that had been known to help out the police. And she led them to a hillside. There, they found a skull fragment. And DNA tests confirmed it was his son. There is no knowledge, nothing ever came about as to why. Why was he out there? What put him out there? Nothing. And it is a mystery to this very day.
Wow. Oh my god.
And again, that's
God,
a
I
true
hate
story.
stories like that.
Bravo. Oh my gosh.
God, Pittsburgh is creepy.
I'm gonna have to look into that
Yeah,
story
and
now because I
I've
kind of
been,
want to
I've
see
been
the
on the road you
timeline.
disappeared on.
Oh, really?
Yes, I have.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Have there been any sightings of him like wandering around or anything?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Because I'd be curious to know if there had been, because that happens like the M5 or M6, it's like haunted as hell.
I posted a link in the private chat for your purple.
Awesome, thank you. I will
Oh, cool.
bring that up. Thank you.
Oh, that's cool. It's on Wikipedia. Michael Rosenblum.
Definitely sounds like a case of foul play, but I would be very interested, as you say, as to find out more about the police chief.
Well, that police chief ended up becoming mayor of Baldwin. Yay!
Yeah.
I live in Baldwin too, so that makes me feel real safe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
marvelous.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Josh. That was awesome.
No problem.
Josh.
That was brilliant. Are you all right to sit in the back in case we have another go around?
Oh, I don't really have another story, but I can maybe pull something up.
That's fine. That's fine. Well, I'll pop you in the back if you want to come back up. That's fine. If not, that's entirely up to you, sweetheart. And I'm going to bring up Jeff. Thank you.
Hey, it's Generalissimo Hefe
Hey, everybody.
from the front of the house.
Yeah, from the front of the house this time.
Not making weird noises behind the door. Yes.
Wasn't me.
Bullshit. Anyway.
Thank you for jumping up, Jeff.
You're welcome.
I'm going to pull us out, and the floor is all yours, my love.
So I'm not super great at telling spooky stories. You know, I read stories, I don't tell them. But as Sammy mentioned earlier, I went to a relatively old college and one that had a lot of old and well haunted buildings. I made the mistake one year of staying in a dorm by the name of Tuckaway, which had previously been the local hotel. You know, when families would come to visit their kids in college or drop them off, or visiting professors or whatever would come, they stayed in the building that later became Tuckaway. I want to say it was built late 1800s, early 1900s. So it was more than 2 or 3 years old by the time that I moved in. The classic story about it is always that, and I experienced this one many times myself, is that, you know, if you're walking the halls late at night, you hear in this one particular wing of the dorm, you would hear dance music. Not anything that you would expect college students to be listening to, mind you, but like old big band. You're in a, you know, at a dance club back in the, you know, 20s, 30s, 40s kind of thing. Nobody ever figured out quite what it was, but you would always just catch these wisps of it. The real moment it came to a head, though, was at one night. It happened in multiple rooms simultaneously because you got all the rooms kind of together, and the kids in two of the rooms were woken up in the middle of the night because suddenly what was normally this rather quiet music in the background had become a bit more pronounced. Open their eyes and look out into the room, and there were all these ghosts dancing through the middle of their dorm rooms. Here's the fun catch: dancing from about the mid-thigh up. That was all you saw. So these people were just, the top 2/3 of their bodies dancing their way through the room. It's one thing when one person sees it. It's another when two people see it. It's another when two dorm rooms, so 4 people total all woke up in the middle of the night to see these people dancing from about thigh high up. Lost their minds. Everybody starts finding out about it. Everybody starts digging into it, trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, it turns out that when they renovated the old hotel into dorms, they raised the floors by 2 feet. So you quite happily had all these ghosts happily dancing on the old ballroom floor. So yeah, I only spent a year in that dorm. One of the other people in that dorm, well before I got there, there were lots of reports of, in this one dorm room, you would come in and see this little girl, 5, 6, 7 years old, digging through the trunks at the foot of your bed. This was the stories back from the 60s, 50s and 60s, when college students kept, the big traveling steamer trunks. And you would see this little girl just digging through the trunks. And everybody, hi, how are you? What can I help you with? And she would say, have you seen my stuffed elephant? And then just disappear. So, yeah, little girl lost her elephant. Yeah, those are the 2 big stories. The other story, story about there. Sorry, just one more. Quick.
Yep,
No,
sorry.
it's fine. No, that little girl. You've never told me that story about the little girl and her little elephant.
Never?
And it's all like, no,
About the elephant?
no,
Okay.
you've never told me that one.
Yeah, she's off looking for an elephant. The other one's more of a gross story.
Okay.
There used to be a hospital on the grounds, and there was next to it, a morgue / crematorium / all that. Long out of use. And like all these other long out of use buildings, the old hospital and the morgue, which was directly attached to it, became a dorm. You got all these students coming in. We need somewhere to put them. Yeah, we've got a new community hospital. We'll turn the old thing into a dorm. So the biggest thing about the dorm was, fortunately, it was an all-girls dorm, so I never lived there. There are plenty of ghost stories about it, but the one that always bothered me is that every now and then, when the wind blew a certain direction, people would smell barbecue. You would smell meat grilling, that great smell of burgers and steaks and all that wonderful warm meat smell. And then they realized it was only the people who were living near the part that was the old morgue that smelled it. And then they realized that it was the old crematorium chimney that every now and then the wind would blow down. Yeah. There's the dorm to stay in if you want to go on a diet. So, okay.
My gosh.
Okay, that's gross.
That,
I told you it was a gross story, not a ghost story.
I love that.
barbecued flesh. Yeah, Pod Racing Palpatine. Barbecue.
And Colin points out, never lived there. Notice you said you've never been there.
No.
Yeah, that's why I'm sitting here going, right. Bullshit. I know you went over there.
Yeah. You know, when I went there, we still had dorm mothers, and the girls' dorms, the doors were locked at 9 o'clock at night, and the boys were kicked out.
Oh God, Project Storytime. Love me some barbecue. Ah. Mark says it sounds like I don't know if you know this college, Jeff, but it's Montevello, University of Montevello.
I don't know University of Montevello.
I know you knew some of the smaller colleges in the South. I just didn't know if you knew that one. But he said it sounds like that college he's talking about. And I'm like, nope, Swanee.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know where that is, Mark. But yeah, that's Swanee.
Yeah.
Where
Yes.
Jeff went to college.
Let's see, there's University of Montevello. Where is that? It's in
Beats me.
Alabama.
Yeah. He's from Alabama.
Yeah, makes sense. Looking for it. Come on, zooming out. Come on, little app. Oh, it's south of Birmingham. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so I would imagine that it's probably had a very similar history if Montevello's been around for a while, because, yeah.
And Clarence Wirtz, and hey there, by the way, you had mentioned a bunch of places in Texas. Yeah, the Alamo was a hard place for me to be.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a great tour. And right next door, he mentioned also the Menger.
Yeah, the Menger Hotel. That one's nope.
I've never gone in there.
Never stayed there, never will.
Even that one I've heard about. Yeah.
Oh, wow. An English person has heard about the Menger Hotel in San Antonio. That cracks me up. Holy shit. So do we have time for at least one more?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We'll keep going until everyone's run out of stories. Or until our audience is bored of us. That was brilliant. Thank you, Jeff. I'll pop you in the back if that's all right, my love. And bring Colin back out.
Oh, promises, promises.
Ah!
Hey! Oh my gosh. It's Colin. Hello.
Hi, Colin.
Hi again, guys.
Floor is all yours again, my love.
Okay, thanks. Now, I can't claim this is a fiction story. I can't claim ownership of this, but I've known it for so long. I really can't remember where I heard it from. But it goes something like this: Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. And that's a reference to some very old British already. The children of the village had always been told, don't go too deep into the forest, into the woods. There are monsters in there, and they'll eat you. And the children, of course, being children, as children do, they went in. It dared each other to go in here and there, a little bit deeper in there, a little bit deeper there. Nothing happened. And then one day, they came near a cave, and they heard some odd sounds coming from the cave. And these are quite young children, maybe not teenage, youngsters. And sort of odd moaning. And they wonder what's going on. And one of them, a little girl, a young girl by the name of Mina, is a little bit more adventurous than the others. And she sort of goes up to, hello. Voice comes from way back. Stay away. You'll only be scared if you see me. And something about this freaks the kids out, and they run away. They go back into the forest a few days later, but they keep away from the cave, and then they've almost forgotten about this. I mean, kids, young kids don't have perhaps really necessarily really long memories. And then one day, it's been after a really, really bad rainstorm. They're out playing, and it's muddy and it's horrible. And they're playing in a sort of by the edge of not quite a hill, and suddenly there's a sort of a bit of a landslide, and a tree comes down, and Mina trips over as she's trying to run away from it, and actually comes to, and it traps her. She's not hurt, but she's trapped under it. She's stuck under this tree, and her friends go running back to the village. They're scared because they're not really supposed to be this far in the forest. And she's lying under there, worrying, and she hears something coming up behind her. And she's worried, and she looks, and this voice comes in. It says, "Not worry, help, not hurt, promise not to look." And Mina's terrified, obviously. And then suddenly she feels the trees start to shift, and it moves off her, and she can get up, and she starts to look back, and Ross goes, "No, not look, you'd be scared." And she gets up, and she's all right. She's only trapped. She's not even hurt, and she runs back to the village and tells her friends and her family about this, saying, "Look, yes, but the monster helped me. The monster saved me." And a few days later, they go back, and her parents are with them, and they're standing outside the cave, and they sort of shout into their cave. They say, "We want to thank you for saving our daughter," and they leave some food by the cave. And over the next few weeks, the story gets, people get more used to this, and more people come, and they actually start talking to the monster a little bit. And he keeps saying, "No, I'm not going to come out because I'll scare you. I'm a monster. I look horrible to you. I'll scare you." And eventually, half the village are there. At one point, they come up to me and say, "Look, we promise we won't be scared. Please, you helped our people. In fact, now we think about it, there's other things that must have been you. We had some lost animals that were suddenly reappeared at the edge of the village. Was that you?" The voice comes back and says, "Yes." And this goes on for 2 or 3 days, and eventually the monster says, "Oh, all right, I'll come out, but please don't be scared." And it slowly walks out, and it's standing there in the cave mouth, and they can sort of see it. It's a bit gloomy in this part of the forest, so they can see most of it, but they can see bits and pieces of it. And they say, what are you?" And he says, he looks up and says, "When you look up at night, you see the stars." "Yes." "Do you know what they are?" "Well, yes, they're other suns." He breathes a sigh of relief. "Yes, I come from another world. I come from another world down there. But we came here to search for things. But we had a crash, And one of the older members of the village thinks back. There was a shooting star a couple of 3 years ago. Something seemed to land across the forest in the lake. Yes, the voice comes. That was us, that was me, but I was the only one that survived. I've found I could eat here, and I listened to you, which is why I can speak some of your language. And the villagers are sitting down now, and they're really, really curious. I mean, they're not cruel people. They're not particularly advanced by our current day standards, but they're not cruel people at all. And they say, just come out, please. Just come out and tell us where you're from. And they look at, and it comes in, and it's a gasp from around them. It's terribly deformed, and another the older village, the village wise man, suddenly has one of those bursts of inspiration, and he realizes, no, it's not deformed. It said it was from somewhere else. How it can walk, I mean, it's missing a leg. How can it balance on two legs? Where's its other arm? And a voice looks up and it says, I'm from a planet called Earth. Da, da, da. That may even have been a Twilight Zone story for all I can remember.
It sounds like something from the Twilight Zone, but I can't be 100% sure.
That was excellent.
I honestly
Great
don't
storytelling.
know. Thank you. I honestly don't know where that came from. I can't claim it to be mine. I honestly don't know where that came from. I wish I could trace it down. I say it may have been something like a Twilight Zone story. It may have been heck, for all I know, it may have been a Tharg's Future Shock in 2000 AD. It really may. It's the sort of thing that you really would have got the early 2000 AD was sort of written.
That was a good story, hon. Thank you for sharing that with us.
That was brilliant.
We've obviously been going about ghosts. There's something that's actually always interested me in ghosts, about the sight of ghosts. That we know, go back about the Romans. There's a BBC series, and I don't really like to shill for a BBC comedy series called Ghosts. It's on hiatus at the moment. It's actually by the people, the guys that made the original 5 seasons of Horrible Histories. So it's good, but unfortunately, I'm finding a little bit to work with. But it's a really interesting setting. It's this couple who inherit an old mansion, not a mansion, a big country house, and which is haunted. And basically, in the first episode, the wife, one of the ghosts, pushes the wife out because they want to get rid of these people. Pushes the wife. She bangs her head, and basically, she can now see the ghosts. It's quite good. But the interesting, I mean, some of the things you go back. Most of the ghosts are modern. I mean, it's great. There's one of the ghosts is a scoutmaster, and he's got an arrow through his neck. And you see there's an accident with the scouts, and they're their stories. But the thing is that we said this about ghosts, but what always gets me is one of them, Robin, is actually a caveman. So he has been a ghost haunting that. Obviously, I say this is his life, but we think of maybe going back to Romans. Is probably the oldest ones I can think of. I've mentioned here in Britain. Obviously, you folks over there, you go back to your native American, pre-Columbian, but if there are ghosts, if ghosts things like, why wouldn't there be ghosts going all the way back to the Stone Age?
I don't see why ghosts couldn't go all the way back to the Stone Age.
I mean, it's just it's great. It's an interesting idea because these poor bugs, they're all stuck where they die. And the other thing is, talking about what Jeff was saying, there's a load of them in the cellar of this state. It's a plague pit from the Black Death. And there's a load of ghosts down there, and they don't want to go upstairs. They just like staying down there. It's a very clever, I think it's quite a funny series, but I say unfortunately, I mean, I noticed that the main couple is multiracial. He's a white woman and her husband is black, which is okay, fine. They all seem to. But then at one point you see another couple, and the wife's white, and her husband is Indian Pakistani. It's called Ghosts.
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
I'm just gonna put the link in once more, guys, just in case anyone late and wants to come on.
All I had to do was it was done by the whole Resistance guys, and they had me. They were fantastic. They write it themselves, and there's been a load of. They've done 2 or 3 projects since Whole Resistance. They finished in Whole Resistance. They did a sort of a fantasy one called Nevermore. Oh, my brain.
That rings the bell, but I'd have to look that one up. I think
it's very similar to there was one where the Disney character, where the fairy tale characters come into the real world on American TV. I can't remember what it's called now. What for several seasons, didn't it? But this was I think there was just 2 series of this one, where you've got the woman, the only female in the troupe, in the main cast. She actually finds that there's a portal in her closet, in her kitchen cupboard, and she gets dragged in. And the one of the main characters is an elf. Her guide's an elf, and it's quite similar to Dark Crystalline. It's that sort of high quality. Some of the it's high fantasy, got elves. The bad guy is absolutely fantastic. It's really well done.
Colin, sweetheart, I'm going to have to cut you off there, unfortunately. Sorry, my love.
It's all right.
Sammy, have you got any more stories for us, sweetheart? I'm just going to pop Colin in the back.
Okay. I don't. I mean, that was the freakiest story I had. Of course, I just looked over at the clock and it's 8:14 already, and I'm like, holy shit, where did that hour go?
Oh, yes.
That is so awesome. I can't believe we had so many great stories. I mean, Colin, thank you for sharing your stuff with us. Oh my gosh. Everybody. You guys
I've got
have been
one
wonderful.
more, but I can probably save it until tomorrow, until the Discord.
Oh, what do you got?
Oh, they mentioned plague pits, and it reminded me of the Mackenzie poltergeist in Edinburgh.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've mentioned this, but you've never told me the story about it.
I can tell the story if you like. Shall I just pop you in the back, my love?
Yeah. Sure.
All right. It'll only take a couple of minutes. All right, guys. Yeah, the Mackenzie poltergeist, which I've actually had a run-in with. In Edinburgh, they do ghost tours. A lot of cities do them, but this one will take you around the Covenanters prison, which is in Greyfriars Kirkyard. And the Mackenzie poltergeist has taken up residence in one of the crypts there. Now, this particular entity is believed to have been released around about 1992. It's the ghost of a really horrible gentleman who was known as Bloody Mackenzie. He was in charge of the Covenanters, which I can kind of talk about, but I'll talk about it another time because it's a very long story how these particular men came to be imprisoned in Greyfriars Kirkyard. But When Mackenzie died, his family, he was very, very rich. They built him a mausoleum. And because he was also very, very vain and a pretty nasty piece of work, it's the largest mausoleum in the in the graveyard. You can't miss it. It's kind of shaped, it's domed, and it's got a, it looks like an acorn on top. So it's very, very easy to spot. It's also got a very large locked door on the front of it, with good reason. It was designed originally just to keep vandals out, but it didn't stop one particular gentleman, a homeless man, from breaking into the crypt one stormy night. He claimed that he was just looking for shelter from the storm. It's more likely he went down to see if there was any interesting items in the crypt. But unfortunately for him, he stepped on the wrong part of the floor and fell through into a plague pit. Not the best place to fall. He opened his mouth, he screamed, and he's one of the few people, if we could find him, who could tell you what a plague pit now tastes like. Because when a pit is sealed, because of the bacteria, the bodies don't deteriorate very well. They tend to say sticky, let's say. So he's screaming and carrying on and trying to get up out of this plague pit and trying to run up the stone steps out back into the graveyard. And obviously the night watchman and his dog has heard this commotion and they've come to investigate. Just as the night watchman gets to the door, out bursts the homeless guy, and the night watchman, thinks the dead have risen and Mackenzie has come to get him. So for the next half an hour, or so it said, they spend time running around the graveyard, screaming at each other. The dog leaves because the dog is sensible. And then the police call, they take the homeless guy to the hospital to have him checked out. The night watchman also goes because he's in shock at what he's seen. And eventually things calm down. The door's replaced on the crypts and they think business as usual. A few weeks later, the tours are going on as usual and somebody on the tour is attacked. Now, this has gone on regularly ever since this incident happened. People report being scratched, bitten, pushed. There are hot and cold spots in the crypt itself. Shadows have been seen, orbs have been seen. I've actually had an encounter with it myself. I had marks all up my arm, like scratches. I've got a photo, I'll put it in the ValkyrieVenue. It tends to attack women more than men. I don't know why. It's just how it is. And very occasionally, people have actually been knocked out. So especially very, very sensitive people, they'll walk into the crypt and it will just hit them and they'll collapse. But yeah, that is the story of the Mackenzie poltergeist, and it is still very, very active to this day. So if anyone does go on a City of the Dead tour, I believe it is, in Edinburgh, you might have an encounter yourselves with it.
No, we're not going there.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that one. No,
Doing it. I'm going to take you there.
Damn it! Ew. Why is everything sticky?
Yeah, that's what you. Everything's sticky. Yes.
It's like hanging around with a toddler. Why is everything sticky?
Oh, you can't throw a stone in Edinburgh without coming across a plague pit because they're
Okay,
everywhere.
that's true. I've heard that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. The Project
I think I've said
Storytimes is
before.
Project Storytimes is note to self: avoid England at all costs.
Oh, that's easy. That was Scotland.
That was Scotland, yeah.
That was Edinburgh. That's Greyfriars Kirkyard, which is actually more famous for not only the Mackenzie poltergeist, but for the Greyfriars Bobby, the little dog.
Yeah.
That's
You showed me pictures of the Greyfriars Bobby. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a pub. It's outside a pub, if I remember
It is.
correctly. And
That's correct.
Okay. And you're supposed to rub his nose. or something like that.
Yeah, they're trying to stop people from doing that because they've actually rubbed his nose off, so they're going to have to replace the nose. But yeah, people rub it for luck.
Oh, okay. They do that. They used to do that with the panther at the Nittany Lion at Penn State. And I think they do it with Scrappy the Eagle at University of North Texas as well. They rub his beak or something like that before a football game. I don't know. It's weird. Superstitious people. Oh my gosh. It's 8:20, guys. It's about time for us to sign off.
It is indeed, yes. Thank you,
Oh my
everyone that
God.
joined us. That was really
thank you
cool.
so much for joining
was
us.
a
We
lot
have to
of
do this again. In fact, I think Josh put it in the chat that we should do this again next year. I'm like,
Yeah.
shit, we got another week, man. We could do it again next week.
Do it again next Friday. Yes.
We could. I don't think we have anything going on.
We'll think about
we
it.
could.
We'll see
Yeah,
what
we'll
we can
think
come
about
up
it.
with.
Yeah, see what we can dig up. That's 2:20 Greenwich Mean Time, the only time. Okay.
But what about the
All
pillow
right,
fight?
everybody. I got my pillow. We
I got
can't
pillow,
really
but
fight.
I can't really do it. If I hit the camera will fall off.
Mine too.
It's only perched on top.
Yeah. Same. Mine's right there.
Oh, that was brilliant. Thank you, guys. Thank you for everyone who joined us. That was a lot of fun. There was just some brilliant stories.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. The virtual pillow fight. Boys. If we do it next week, Becky could join us and tell a story. That would be
I'd
awesome.
love that. Absolutely. It
That
gives
would be
me
awesome.
gives me more time to come up with some more stories.
Me too. Well, since it's closer to Halloween, maybe we could read The Raven.
Yeah, we could
As
do that.
well.
We might do a reading. Yeah. Awesome.
Or at least something of Edgar Allan Poe's. But The Raven is so classic. You can't mess with that.
It is. Yeah, and it's also quite a quick read as well.
Yeah. Mark wants to tell his ghost story, but he can't next week. Why not? Where are you going to be? You going to be making mischief? Because it's mischief night next week. Shame on you, Mark.
I have to have Mark on in the week and he can just tell his story.
Right? We'll just record him. We could do that, Mark, if you want to. That way we could get your story out. That'd be cool.
All right, guys. Huge thank you to everyone who joined us. Big thank you to our big spenders. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Me
So we will
too.
see you guys. It's a happy weekend.
Yes. No,
What's going on?
We will see them before that because we are joining Eris tomorrow.
That's right. We're
and
on
we've got
Eris'
movie
show.
night. Yeah.
And there's movie night with Loki. So, and we're watching The Thing.
Yes, we are.
John Carpenter's The Thing. So it'd be my first time ever seeing it. So I'm excited.
Really? That's
Yeah.
cool. Oh, you're going to like
Yeah.
it. Oh, it's
That's what I'm
awesome.
told. I'm so excited. Okay, guys. So happy weekend. We will see you around the web. Otherwise, we will see you on Monday morning. We'll be back at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Our usual time. I don't have my list in front of me, but we do have a show planned.
We do, yeah. We're picking up again with Vikings, so we've got the
Vikings.
last episode and then probably the first episode of the next season. We're
Right.
gonna lock them
We're going to
together,
see what
I
we
think.
can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
but that's all.
Wednesday, and then Thursday we're taking over and doing the Star Trek, the boss.
Yes. Yes. We'll be doing STD
STD
for the boss. We'll be taking over for the boss on Thursday morning so he can travel.
Speaking of which, I think he's on with Darth Haster at the moment, so
Oh.
we might go over there and check those guys out.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to go do that. So, guys, jump over to Darth Haster's Darth Haster? Wow, where am I from? Darth Haster's channel. I think Stone Cold Loki is hanging out. So we will see you guys around the web this weekend.
We will. Have a great weekend, and thank you guys. Mwah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Mwah. Take